Hi everyone, I hope you're doing good. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Now, in the past I've done a video listing 12 non-metal bands that I like, 10 metal bands that I don't like, and now I'm going to follow that up with 10 rock bands and artists that I don't like and, not a massive fan of anyway. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. But before we do, if you're new, please consider subscribing and checking out my other content. Please share with anyone you think might like my content. If you go on to like this video, please drop it a like. All comments, feedback is much appreciated. And a massive thank you to everyone who's already subscribed and for watching, commenting. Yeah, let's keep the momentum going. Now let's just get straight into this video. At my number 10, I have got Foo Fighters. Now, I don't hate this band. It's just, I really like Dave Grohl. I think he's a really cool guy and a really cool sort of ambassador for rock and metal music. But I'm just not interested in really listening to their stuff. I'm just not interested in going into their discography. I know there's a couple of albums that are pretty good, but I think there's better stuff out there. There's like better bands that I can put my time towards rather than getting into the Foo Fighters. It's just a band that I see just not really clicking with me, unfortunately. But yeah, there we go. At number 9, I've got most post-punk and pop-punk bands. Now, I've put the whole of those two genres in there because I can't define just one band. It all sounds the same to me, and yeah, it's just not something that I particularly gravitate to musically. Yeah, my mates Alfie and Kim at Lilac Fall, I'll leave their link in the description. They're massively into pop punk, and when I go around their house, they play a bit of pop punk every now and again. And one or two's all right, but oh, I'm sorry, mates. I'm sorry, mates, because I know you're massively into it, but for me, it's not really something that I like. The vocals are a bit annoying, and the song structures are very samey and boring to me. All the riffs that they use for the songs are a bit samey, and they're not that interesting. Yeah, anything to do with like anything pop related, it's just a massive no for me. I don't like it. Just find it a bit boring and quite just quite generic. The drumming though is all right in pop punk. Some of the drumming's pretty cool, but that's about it. And post punk just doesn't interest me at all. Can be too poppy at times and just a bit dull and doesn't really do anything for me. But I don't like any post rock, post metal, any post stuff. I think is quite boring. At number 8, I've got 99% of all alternative and indie bands. Both genres for me are very similar. I put them both together. I'll say that indie's probably a little bit more sort of softer than alternative, but it all sounds the same to me. And yeah, they both do absolutely nothing for me. The music just is so boring and dull. It just does absolutely nothing for me. It's like there's nothing really that good about it, really. It all sounds the same. Yeah, all them kind of bands like Red Hot Chili Peppers and Nirvana and U2. Yeah, their music is just doesn't interest me at all. And Kings of Leon and Arctic Monkeys and Fall Out Boy, bands like that, just don't care, to be honest, about any of that stuff. Nah. At number 7, I've got Eric Clapton. The reason I've got Eric Clapton on this list is because, for me anyways, he is so overrated. You know, he's nowhere near as good as what people say he is. Some people think he's like one of the best guitarists ever, and for me, he, you know, for me, at that time, in the sort of late '60s, early '70s, I could think of at least 7, 8 guitarists that were better than him, way better than him. Um, yeah, he's done some cool songs over his time, but for me, he's on this list just because I think he's so overrated, and he's not as good as what people say he is, basically. Number 6 now, I've got Bruce Springsteen. Now, that whole like soft rock, arena rock, pop rock stuff, just, just, I think it's a bit naff, to be honest. Don't like it at all. It's just really boring, cheesy, gimmicky, and yeah, they all sound the same. All his songs sound the same, and yeah, none of them are that great for me. It's just, the songwriting is just really uninteresting and just really just really generic, really. And that comes on to number 5, which is Bryan Adams. Basically the same. They're basically the same person, pretty much, writing the same bog standard generic pop song, pretty much. Just boring. That music for me just does absolutely nothing for me. It's just not very good at all, really. It's too poppy and too generic, and yeah, it's not that good. It doesn't resonate well with me. When I listen to it, it just doesn't resonate at all. At number 4, I've got Radiohead. Um, their music just makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, it's all over the show. It's just everywhere, and their musical style is just so strange. I just goes over my head. I don't get it. It's just weird, and they use lots of electronic stuff, which is not for me. I don't like electronic music. It's just not something that I like. It just annoys me. The vocals are a bit annoying. Ed O'Brien is very, very overrated for me. That's another thing. People say that he's such a great guitar player, and for me, he does nothing for me to show that he's a good guitar player. I'm sorry, but his sound and his tone isn't very good at all. Yeah, unless anyone can prove to me that he is actually a good guitar player, then yeah, Radiohead is staying on this list. At number 3, I have got Coldplay. Now, I already mentioned before that I didn't like indie. I hate indie, but Coldplay I hate so much. I thought I'd have to mention them on their own because they are terrible. They are terrible. Every time they used to come on the radio, I was just used to think, oh, what on earth is this? And it's Coldplay. I thought, oh god. Every time, it's just so boring and lifeless. Their music is just so terrible. It really is. And Chris Martin, their vocalist, is so arrogant and up his own arse that like I don't like too many musicians that are like that. Really, I don't get on with musicians like that who think they're the world's greatest and bit elitist, or well, not elitist, but bit arrogant. That's the word I was looking for. Very arrogant he is, and yeah, I don't like him, and I don't like his band. At number 2, I've got Oasis, and the reason why I've got Oasis is because the whole Britpop thing is just crap. I bloody hate it all. But I put Oasis there because they're the ones I hate the most. They're probably the most popular one as well. But yeah, their music just is not very good. It's just boring. It does nothing for me. It's just every song sounds the same, and they're really generic, sort of charty, popular sort of hit song. All of them are just, you know, and Liam Gallagher's vocals just annoy me so much. They're so blooming annoying. The way his tone and everything, it's just gets on my nerves. It's just, yeah. And Noel is not that great at the guitar, really. I think there's way better rock guitarists out there than him. So yeah, they're number 2. And my number 1 rock band that I hate the most is Status Quo. They are the most cheesy, corny, naff band I've ever heard. All their hits are all terrible. They're just not very good songwriting at all, really. They're just generic pop, commercial, popular kind of bands that all their hits are just made for that kind of thing, and I hate it. I blooming hate it all. There's so much better rock music out there. I think personally, out of all these bands, there's so much better out there than these. So much better music out there. You know, I call Status Quo Status Woe because their music's so woeful. Yeah, they're just really woeful, and yeah, I wouldn't go and see any of these bands live, even if they paid me to go and see them. I still wouldn't, because they're just terrible. No. And I think that's something with this whole thing, that quite a lot of the bands are all popular, all the genres are quite popular, mainstream, and you know, that's just me. I just don't like any of that stuff. So yeah, that's my list. So that was my top 10 bands that I don't like, my top 10 rock bands that I don't like. What do you think of my list? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And what's your least favourite rock bands, or rock bands you absolutely hate? Like, yeah, let's have a discussion about it in the comments and see what we can come up with. Yeah, so that's it for this video. I've got lots more guitar and rock and metal content coming out soon on the channel, so hope to see you there, and until then, keep rocking.